Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Natalia Lee and I'm the author of a few books for young adults, the most recent being the cozy contemporary fantasy, Song of the Dryad. And this month, October, is actually going to be the 1-year birthday of Song of the Dryad. It came out October 20th, 2018. So its first birthday is coming up and I'm hoping to do some, I don't know, maybe giveaways, discounts, I'm not sure, but I wanted to mention it. So if you've been looking or if you've been interested in getting Song of the Dryad, but you haven't wanted to pay full price, there might be some discounts headed your way for the 1-year anniversary. But today we're talking about Nanowrimo. I put out for some questions. I asked my Instagram followers for some Nanowrimo related questions so that I could do a Nanowrimo Q&A. And you guys definitely delivered. I have quite a few questions, so we're going to jump right into it and we're going to chat about Nanowrimo 2019. All right, let's get started. So the first question is, how do you prep? Paper and pencil, whiteboard, computer, all of them, etc. So this year, I'm definitely using a whiteboard because I'm using a whiteboard to outline Pistol Daisy Book 2 or re-outline it. I will link my part 1 in the re-outlining video series above. So I am re-outlining Pistol Daisy Book 2, so that's part of my prep. Definitely my laptop over here for prep. I'm also using my 2019 Preptober workbook, 100% donation based. If you guys feel like you need a little bit of help or a workbook, you know, some guidance to like preparing for Nanowrimo. So I'm definitely using that. All of the above, I guess. Pen and paper that go in the notebook or the workbook, my laptop, my whiteboard, all of it. And I will do like a Nanowrimo survival kit. I'll do a whole video on how I'm prepping, excuse me. But yeah, all of the above. Let's see, next question. Is writing book 1 easier or harder than writing book 2 when you have 30 days to win? I have no idea. Last Nano, I wrote Song of the Dryad book 2. I wrote 50,000 words of that and it was difficult. I mean, really hard. But also I wrote Song of the Dryad 2 nanos before that, Nano 2016. And that was incredibly hard. Nanowrimo is always hard. And writing a brand new book for me, whether it's book 1 in a series or book 3 in a series, is always difficult. Pistol Daisy, I wrote in like 2 weeks, which is totally outside of the norm for me. There is construction going on outside and there's nothing I can do about it. So if you hear it, that's what that is. But then writing Pistol Daisy book 2 took me like 3 months or something because it was way more difficult. So I'd say based on that alone, that writing book 2 or book 3 or whatever in the series is probably going to be more difficult because you have more limitations that you didn't have when you were building your world and your story in book 1. Have you prepped the same throughout the years or has your prepping evolved? My prepping always changes, just like my outlining process shifts a little bit and changes for each book. I don't think any of us really, but personally I'm not like a stagnant writer or a stagnant creator, or maybe that's not the best word to use. I'm not stuck in my ways. Every book requires something a little bit different. So the way that I prepped for Pistol Daisy, you know, book 1 is totally different than Pistol Daisy book 2, which was totally different from Song of the Dryad book 1, like, or I guess I should just say Song of the Dryad. So it's always evolving and it is always changing. Let's see. What things do you do to get into the prepping and nanoing mood? Candle, walking, meditation, etc. I would definitely say I need food because I am somebody that likes to snack all the time. I like to have my candle burning, a rock salt lamp on, the fan on overhead because I like to wear cozy clothes and not like a t-shirt or a tank top, and some music, some instrumental music. I've been listening to like autumn jazz instrumental recently and I've been loving it. Next question. How do you outline your novel for Nanowrimo if you do an outline for a novel? So I do outline. Right now I'm still working on redoing the outline for book 2, which is supposed to be done by the time Nano gets here because I need to do book 3. But my outlining always changes. Again, I do recommend you watch that re-outlining my novel video or one of my previous outlining videos, but it's always changing. So I think for book 3, I will probably use a whiteboard method because I'm really enjoying that. There's something very fulfilling about putting sticky notes on a whiteboard and watching it build up. I like that, so I think that's what I'm going to do for book 3, but I will definitely like film a video and take you guys along with me when it comes time for me to do that. Let's see, any tips for conceptualizing ideas and how to tell a bad idea from a leaping point? I think my only tip would be to take your idea and turn it into a premise. I talk about that in the Nano Preptober workbook, but essentially take your idea, give your idea a big major problem. Like an example would be, you know, Harry Potter. Like the idea is that a boy discovers that he's a wizard and goes to a magical wizarding school. But, you know, where's the problem in that? So the problem becomes Voldemort. The evil wizard wants to kill the boy that goes to the wizarding school, and then you have your premise. So in order to choose a good idea, I think you just need to come up with the idea, plus the problem, turn it into a premise, and decide which one you think can carry you throughout the month and through 50,000 words. How would you participate in Nano festivities if you were not doing the 50,000 goal? I think the same as I always do, like set a goal for myself and just work toward that every single day, even if you're just doing 10,000 or 25,000 or 30,000, like whatever you're doing, you can still participate in the community, which I think is one of the best parts of Nano, is the fact that everybody is like commiserating together over writing all these words, and it makes it so much more fun. So, you know, it doesn't matter how many words you're trying to write, just participate, have a good time, film vlogs. I know, Camille, that you make YouTube videos, so maybe you'd be interested in making some Nano vlogs, but just participate, and I think you will have an amazing time no matter what your word count goal is. How do you know when to stop prepping is the next question, and my answer this year is that I probably will never be ready to stop prepping because I still haven't finished book 2 and I want to write book 3 in Nano, so never. Never is my answer. I will be prepping forever. Let's see, what are your thoughts on editing a book / trying to finish it for Nano? Yes, absolutely. I think you should do it. I've done that before, like for Camp Nanowrimos before. I think I skipped Nano one year. Did I skip Nano in 2017? I think I did. I think I skipped Nano 2017 because I just wasn't ready. Like I was working on Song the Dryad and I just did not want to participate in, well, I always want to participate. You know what I mean? If you want to use Nano to like get your butt in the chair and participate with everybody and finish your book or edit your book, do it, because this is like the best time of year for writers to come together and support each other, I think. So I think it's perfect for any book project that you want to work on. Next question. What is your #1 best piece of advice for beginner Nano writers? I should do a whole video on this. Gosh, let me think back to my first ever Nano. It was seriously such a good time. Like I have so much nostalgia for my first Nano, but I guess I would just say, have fun. Like Nanowrimo does not need to be this painful, terrible, miserable thing. I know that I said we commiserate together, but that's like a fun thing. So if you're not having fun during Nano and this is your first year, then try something new. Try the writing groups, try the writing forums, get involved here on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram or wherever you want to get involved. So I think that's just my #1 best tip is get involved and have fun no matter how many words you write, because that's the beauty of Nano, is that it is so much fun. It is my favorite time of year, I kid you not. Any tips for finding online writing support? 100%. Here on YouTube, you can find a ton of support. Instagram is a really great place to connect with writers. Twitter, I personally suck at Twitter, and I am never on Twitter, but I know a lot of writers are. Just start searching for the hashtag Nanowrimo or Nanowrimo 2019, and I know you will be able to connect with writers and start supporting them and getting support back. And then also the Nanowrimo forums. They're awesome. I love hanging out in there. So those are a few places where I think you can find support. And then also, if you're an extrovert and you like going out and writing with people, different Nano regions have like regional meetups and stuff. So you could try that too if you want like in real life writing friends. How do you stay motivated is the next question. It's very difficult to stay motivated, but I think I want to write books. I want to put them on my shelf. I want to show them to you guys. I want to share my stories, and that keeps me motivated. And I'm not always motivated. Like there are a lot of days where I don't want to work, where I feel shitty about what I'm doing, But at the end of the day, like the most important thing is that I want to get my books out there and I want people to be able to read and enjoy them. And that is motivation enough for me. You could also, God, that is so loud out there. You could also try a rewards system if you think that a reward system would keep you motivated. But personally, it doesn't work very well for me. I like rewards, but they don't keep me motivated. So whatever works for you. What's the best word count goal besides 50K? That's going to be different for every writer, but I would say if you don't want to do the 50K, but you want to push yourself, 30,000 would probably be good. Because that's still 1,000 words a day, and that's hard to do, so you can still like get into the NaNoWriMo spirit and feel like you're working really hard alongside everybody else while not having to like kill yourself for 50,000 words. How much do you plot before starting Nano? Depends on the year, I suppose. I used to plot a lot less. Like when I plotted Song of the Dryad, the very first draft, I plotted but barely anything. And then it totally changed. And then I had to totally replot. So I would say if I was writing like a full length 100,000 word novel, I would do a lot of prep. Wait, let me take that back. If you're writing your very first draft for NaNoWriMo, I'd say that I do less preparation because the story always evolves for me. And I need to like just do an updated outlining video because this is something that has changed over the years. But essentially I like to plot and I like to have an idea of where I'm going, have an idea about the characters and the scenes and the chapters and what I want to write. But I also know that it's going to change. So typically after I write my first draft, I take that first draft and I kind of break it apart and I look at it scene by scene, and then I take that and I create an incredibly complex outline from there. So after draft one, that's when the true outlining nature, like my true outlining nature, really comes to life. That construction is killing me. The next question is, how do you motivate yourself to just sit down finally and do your job? I struggle with this so much, like do your job of writing. It's not easy. Like there are, like most days, I would rather not sit down and write and I'd rather go play video games or watch Netflix instead. But live streams help a lot. You know, because you get to hang out with your friends or other writers and write with them. So that's a big one. And then I also think that having a schedule or a routine helps as well. Because if you just know, like, okay, Monday through Friday, I write for 30 minutes in the morning while I drink tea or while I have my morning coffee, then it's much easier to sit down during those scheduled times rather than trying to force writing into your day. I think it's way harder to get your butt in the chair in that situation versus just having a little bit of time built into your days. What are your favorite snacks to graze on during NaNoWriMo? Oh, I love snacks. Chips. I would eat bags and bags of chips every single day if it weren't unhealthy for me. I love eating chips. I love eating just like plain popped popcorn. I have like an air popper, so I love eating that. Trail mix, pretty much anything crunchy and salty is for me. I used to eat a ton of cookies. Like cookies used to be my go-to always, cookies and coffee. But I'll tell you what, a couple days ago I tried to make cookies and it's been a long time since I made cookies. They were terrible, just terrible. So I don't think I'll be trying that again anytime soon. So it'll probably be chips, popcorn, and other crunchy, salty snacks. What kind of reward system do you use? I'm not sure yet what my reward system will be this year, but I think I might make a video on it, so stay tuned. Top self-care tips during November. Wouldn't I like to know? Top self-care tips. What am I gonna do in November to take care of myself? I'm going to limit other things that I'm working on. Like for example, I kind of closed my copy editing services during November. I might have one, maybe, we haven't like booked it yet, but I might have one client that kind of starts in November, but then I extend her edit so that I don't have to do it all in 1 month. But essentially limiting your other projects, or for me, limiting my other projects and just allowing myself to be relaxed and focus on like the main things that I need to do. So that would be like a self-care tip for myself, because I tend to like overwork myself and overschedule myself. I don't do a whole lot of like gatherings in November. I know that for some people there's Thanksgiving in November. I don't really celebrate Thanksgiving. So self-care for me is not guilting myself into going and doing those things. You know, oh, will you come to this? Will you come to that? Will you go watch this person do this thing? And for me, it's like, nope. I'm able to say no. That's part of my self-care, is just knowing that it's okay to stay home when I want to and work on my books. So that would be like a mental self-care tip, I guess, is just being able to say no. Because I know that during the holidays, everybody wants you to be somewhere and they all want you to do something, and it can just become really overwhelming, especially when you're writing a damn book. But then also drink a lot of water, get sleep, take care of your body, get up and move between like writing sessions. And again, maybe I'll do a whole video on this because I'm trying to make this one brief and it's not going very well. So these questions here have given me some ideas for like full video topics. Let's see. How do you keep your story moving when you find yourself stuck on a plot point? Some people will move on. Like maybe they'll just say, Daisy does this thing here. Like for me, that might be something I would say. You know, Daisy does this thing here, and then they just move on. Or some people are not linear writers at all, and they totally jump around and write whatever they want to. Personally, I am a very linear writer, and I never skip any scenes because I want each scene, like I want to grow with the characters in every single scene that I write. So if I'm stuck on a plot point, like I get stuck. It definitely happens, but I find that if I do word sprints and live streams, that helps me get through it. Because let's say I'm sprinting with like Brooke and Mandy and I have 15 minutes and I want to write, 400 words, then it kind of forces me to just push through it so that I can get to the other side. And then also just remind yourself that this is not your final draft. Write through it, push through it, and move on. Because you will always be able to come back to it and edit it later. Or edit it, 5 times. So try to just push through or jump around or just leave little notes for yourself and move on. Don't let that stop you from making progress in your book. Next question. Any advice for writers who have a bad habit of editing while writing? Oh gosh. Brooke Passmore would probably be able to speak on this better than I can. Personally, I don't edit as I write, and I think that it took me just accepting the fact that my first draft isn't going to be what I want it to be, and that's okay. Like, if you just allow yourself to write badly, I think that, personally, for me, that minimizes my need to go back and edit. So, when I start work for, let's say I sit down on a Tuesday, I'll look over briefly the last, few paragraphs that I wrote on Monday, and then I just dive right in, instead of feeling like, oh my gosh, this is so bad I have to edit it, because I know that I will have many, many, many rounds of edits ahead of me, so I don't really feel the desire to go back and edit constantly. But you could ask Brooke Passmore, because I know that this is something that she has really been working with as well. Does fanfic count as a NaNoWriMo project? Yes. Yes, I think so. How do you stay motivated halfway through Nano? Isn't that a good question? Because about the second to third week, I totally lose steam and I am not interested in my project anymore. I want to abandon it. It happens every single year. I think my tip would honestly be to just get involved in the community, talk to other writers, watch Nano vlogs. That really helps me. Participate in live streams, participate in word sprints, listen to your playlist. I think that's something that every writer should cultivate before Nano. That's what I do. When I get stuck and I feel unmotivated, it really helps me to get involved with other writers because then they inspire me and lift me up, and then I want to keep working. What is your ideal character profile? What necessities do you need to know before writing? Not many, to tell you the truth, especially for a first draft. I'll know the basics. I want to know hair. I want to know name. I don't know why hair came out. I want to know their name and their basic character appearance. And then from that point on, I kind of let them teach me about themselves. Sometimes it does help to have a little bit of backstory on the character so that you know why they act the way they do. But honestly, my characters have a way of introducing themselves to me rather than needing to be created by me. So I go with very basic character profiles, name, age, and what they look like. And then I'm off and running. One moment, Greg is calling me. Hi, love. Okay, I had to pause the video because the construction outside is so loud, but it's not going to cease, I don't think, anytime soon. So we're just gonna keep pushing ahead. Okay, the next question is, how do you prep/outline for a sequel? Personally, I can't even think because the construction is so loud. How do I prep/outline for a sequel? So what I did for like the Pistol Daisy books was I went back to book 1 and I completely read it through so that I knew where I was headed with book 2. And now moving into book 3, I am, holy shit, that sound out there. Moving into book 3, I'm just trying to finish up the second draft of book 2 so that I know exactly where it ends and where my characters are headed from there, which seems obvious, but that's what I'm working on. And then also just knowing, having a basic idea of how many books do I want this to be. Is it just going to be 2 books? Is it going to be 7 books? So that I know where are we headed with this. What, is that a big mat, boo-boo? Yeah, so read over, my recommendation would be to read over the previous book or book 1, and then outline and just know where your characters are going and where you want that, whole story arc to go. Sorry if I feel like if I am coming across as scattered, it's the sound of grinding metal and stone outside. Next question, how do you manage nano with school and/or jobs? So my first time doing nano, I was in college, and the way I handled it was I just did the best I could until Thanksgiving break. And then Thanksgiving break, like the whole Thanksgiving break, was just nano for me. So I don't know if you get a Thanksgiving break, if you get some sort of break from school or from work. I think the construction workers outside need to go on a break right about now. So that's how I personally handled it with school. But I think something that has always been helpful to me, whether it was, work related or school related, was just knowing my schedule and knowing realistically how often I could write, and then just making sure that I was sitting down and writing during those times. Maybe that's 5 days a week or 4 days a week. However many days you have available to yourself, try to carve out one specific writing time and stick to it, because then it will help you juggle everything at once. Because I know that we all have very busy lives, but I guess that would be my tip on that, my very brief tip on how to manage NaNoWriMo with the rest of your life. There's chains outside now too. What is your biggest tip to keep up the word count and be constant/consistent? For me, that would just be kind of what I said in the previous question, which is set a routine, set a schedule for yourself, and just make sure that you show up for your story on those days, and show up for yourself too, because if you really want to do this, then you have to carve out time for it. So that would definitely be my tip. What story are you working on? Or are you going to focus on the Pistol Daisy series the whole month? Yep, Pistol Daisy book 3. This month for Preptober, I'm trying to finish Pistol Daisy book 2, the second draft. And then I hope to write Pistol Daisy book 3 for NaNoWrimo in November. Do you use your bullet journal while you write during NaNoWrimo? 100%. I use my bullet journal every single day. It's sitting right here beside me, and it is my constant companion in life now. Ooh, this is a good one. How do you get over the fear that your work isn't good enough? I think this is a fear that most people, if not everybody, has about their writing at some point. I kind of got to the point where I had to accept that I was at a certain writing level, and this is now as well. Like, I can't look at Lee Bardugo or Maggie Stiefvater or Lainey Taylor and then say, oh, my writing is so bad, I don't write like them, I'm not that good. Like, I'm at a certain level. Maybe I'm at level 10 out of 100, or I don't know, level 15 out of 100, and I play video games, so that's where this idea comes from. But essentially, everything I write is leveling me up. Every book I write is leveling me up. Every time I edit something, or I outline something, or I publish something, like, I'm getting better and better and better. So I think what really has helped me is just knowing that I am at a certain level, and I can only do as well as that level allows me. Like, don't sit down and tell yourself that you have to write like Stephen King, or you have to write like your favorite author, because it's not going to happen. Not only will we all be different stylistically, but also we're all at different levels. Like, level yourself up and be happy with where you're at, and just know that every single word you put on the paper, every time you edit, every time you write a new book, you are leveling up, and you will get to where you want to be, but you have to give yourself the time and the like compassion to get there. Believe me, I went through lots and lots of fear, and I continue to go through fear every now and then, but I think it's just part of the process. And the last question is, what has been your favorite moment or your favorite moments in past NaNoWriMos? My favorite moment/moments definitely happened during my first ever NaNoWriMo. I can remember it so clearly. I was sitting in the kitchen at my mom's house, and it was really cold, so I had on a hoodie and this little like kimono robe over it, which I still have because I was so freezing. And I was just like drinking coffee and eating cookies, because my mom always makes cookies too, and they're much better than mine. And I remember finishing the project and being able to validate for the first time and print off my winner's certificate. But that whole NaNoWriMo was just like, those are my best moments during Nano, because I was not even like involved with the community really at that point. Like, I had a Tumblr and I posted on YouTube sometimes, not very often. But it was just so full of joy for me being able to hit 50,000 words for the very first time. And even though it was a struggle, it was such a proud moment. Like, I felt amazing. And I think that will always be my favorite NaNoWriMo moment, was the very first time I won NaNoWriMo, and you know, the 30 days or 29 days leading up to that. I am so nostalgic for that Nano. I wish I had been vlogging at that time in my life. I wasn't. It was much later that I started vlogging. But I love looking back on old videos, because I do get nostalgic from time to time, and I wish I could look back on that, because my very first Nano was by far the best. And like, I've been hooked. I've been hooked ever since. So if this is your first NaNoWriMo, I definitely have a feeling of like envy almost, because I remember how amazing my first NaNoWriMo felt. So I think just be excited about it. Don't feel intimidated or scared. This is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be like a whirlwind of words and writing and early mornings and late nights and just, you know, being part of the community. So I like, honestly, I'm such a dork. I like get goosebumps just thinking about it, because I love Nano so much. So thank you everybody who sent in questions. There were like way more questions than I thought. Apologies for the consistent construction outside. I don't have control over it. If I did, I'm going to have a bunch of NaNoWriMo inspired videos out for Preptober, and I will also be vlogging during Nano. There's so much to do, but I'm feeling really positive. Like, I'm feeling good. I feel like I'm ready to take on this this task of, you know, finishing client edits in October, finishing Pistol Daisy Book 2 Draft 2, and preparing for Pistol Daisy Book 3 Draft 1. Oh, also, by the way, I have 2 live streams coming up. The first one will be on October 8th. That will be with Brooke and a special guest. And then we will also have one on, I want to say October 28th. Let me look and see. This month is Mandy's wedding month, so she is super busy this month. I'm so excited for her, but because she's so busy with living her life and doing wedding stuff, she won't be able to join us for many live streams until that is kind of like, you know, past. So that's why Brooke and I have been having some special guests lately. Okay, so we're doing one on the 8th with a special guest, and then we're also doing one on the 29th with a different special guest. So you will get to see 2 guest writers on our live streams this month, which I am so excited about. I definitely feel like I'm learning how to step outside my comfort zone, meet new people. Brooke even said that to me. We were texting. She's like, you know, you're doing really well. Like, this is something that you probably wouldn't have been comfortable with before, and that's totally true. But I'm so excited to talk to these 2 writers that are going to be guests on our live streams, and I hope you guys will join us. So yeah, the 8th will be the first one. So mark it on your calendars. It'll be at 7:30 Central Standard Time, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. But more on that to come very soon. I hope you guys are having a fantastic Preptober. I cannot wait for Nano, but it'll be here before we know it. So I'm going to get back to client edits and hopefully Pistol Daisy Book 2 edits, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!